Tell us your name. Who are we speaking with today?
How's it going? How's everyone doing? I identify as TechMental.
And, I guess I'm Devin. I might as well introduce myself as well. I'm a business developer here at SuperWorld. What do you do and what can you help people with?
Okay, I've been a pixel pusher since the early 80s video game days, and that just built an imagination of a lifetime for me. Whether it was trying to get my name at a high score or trying to master the game, it just, within my, kind of imagination for my arts, got into the whole tech and web developing, graphic arts in the 90s. And, that gave me the tools, the imagination and the experience to kind of move forward. And just at a time where the whole blockchain just exploded in 2015. And I feel with that experience, in short, the same way I've been kind of helping and onboarding people in the last 20 years onto the internet, whether it be websites or, e-commerce, I've taken that same example, that template, the X is now blockchain, and I've just in the last 5 years, I've onboarded hundreds of people onto blockchain, whether it's on a crypto level of just supporting their crypto wallets, or whether it's, trying to get their Ethereum address, whether it's an Art Deco gallery or a vegan restaurant, make sure they have that correct address where people can go ahead and donate. So those are small examples of what I've been able to do and what I have fun doing, because it is a lifestyle and it is it's the way I choose to live my life.
Awesome, man. So yeah, you're basically onboarding for those that are not in the space yet. You're helping them get more custom and familiar with blockchain.
Absolutely. And it's a whole new world for all of us. Every day we go onto crypto Twitter and we learn something incredible that has happened, whether it's, Visa investing, I don't know, over $100,000 onto what some may say, oh, that's a JPEG or a GIF, but it's actually a digital asset, a digital asset that, contains provenance of what that is worth, who owns it, who created it, and as it moves forward. And I could see where Visa or MasterCard actually create a charity and donate that JPEG, as they say, that CryptoPunk actually, to a charity for the findings. I hope they do anyways.
Who should listen to this interview and why? What insights are people going to get from you in this interview?
I believe this interview the focus is on virtual land, virtual worlds. I have been, I guess, websites is in a small example, virtual land, it exists on the internet. So virtual land, when it comes to real estate, is very interesting. It intrigued me when I came across it. I mean, I remember some point in the 2000s when I got lost for about 4 days in Second Life. And I was like, okay, I don't know what just happened. I think I might have been engaged or something, but I'm out of here. You know what I mean? It was crazy just back then. Now I look at virtual land, virtual property through SuperWorld, and it just explodes. It ignites my imagination. As an artist, as a tech guy, as a collector, as someone who actually owns, real estate in the physical, I wanted to kind of, pepper my portfolio with virtual lands, because if we're looking at exactly 10 years ago, where I believe Bitcoin was at 10 cents and it is now at, I think, conservatively about $45,000, $46,000 within the 10-year trend. I mean, that's a pretty good ROI, I would say, if you can sit on it for a while. So when I started seeing different colleagues invest in SuperWorld, I would say about a year ago, I said, I listened to it. I saw the way it went down. I saw the way it was the way they were organizing the plots within the land that actually intrigued me. I think it was Robness, one of our crypto veterans, that the way he aligned his property, that I believe it was on Sunset Strip, I was like, wait a minute, I want to do that on Ocean Drive. I want to do that on Biscayne Boulevard. I want to do that in Las Olas and Fort Lauderdale. I want to have my collection of assets aligned on this street, just like, Fortune 500 companies do it, So that's what intrigued me in SuperWorld, just on an artist, on a more aesthetic, coming from that graffiti world where it's like, vantage point is everything. I want to put my signature there because traffic starts here, so everyone's going to see my name there. It's where Rolex and Porsche and everybody else got their idea from. The subways of the 70s, in New York. So, and that's where I believe the real estate companies are jumping into the realm, where I see they're using virtual land as a caveat. At least in Miami, I'm noticing, where now they can offer this virtual land along with this lease, where as long as you lease that property, you can also run the digital rights or incur these tokenomics from what happens within this land. And if you choose to buy the land, well, then you probably inherit that virtual land as well. I could see these as caveats, moving forward.
Definitely, man. I love that. Let's definitely jump into it. But right before we do, what can people do to learn more about you, and how can they be in touch with you?
Honestly, I'm an open book, really. I've had a website called techmental.com for now 21 years. It's covered a lot of different aspects of tech and design. Definitely go to techmental.com, fill out the contact form. If you have a question within any aspect when it comes to blockchain, NFT, virtual real estate, send me a line, ask me a question. I'd be more than happy to help you. If you have this idea of what you would like to do, if you want to tokenize a certain asset that nobody has done before, hit me up. I've actually I just accepted a project that I asked permission whether I could speak on it. And we're actually moving forward. There's a deadline, but we're actually moving forward on actually tokenizing a rare gem, an actual physical gem. So I'm looking forward to that. That's as much information I'm going to give right now. But I will tell you this, that if everything sorts out correctly, I'm looking to tokenize, mint this gem on SuperWorld. Oh, wow. So that's something that I'm looking forward to making happen.
That's awesome. All right. So yeah, jumping into it. Why should people care about virtual land? What is a virtual world?
So, in my opinion, a virtual world is an environment that you can either visit that's already created by somebody else, or you can create on your own. There are different applications, different assets. There are virtual worlds now that are within the blockchain. To some of us, we're calling that the fourth dimension at this point, and it goes hand in hand with being in the fourth industrial revolution as we are for the last couple of years. So I believe that people now are able to create their own worlds within these virtual worlds that identify them, just like what they do today within Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, where you create profiles about yourself. Within your own profile on Facebook, you can have your let's say physical therapist, or your name is Angela. That's your personal, where you have 2 dogs and you live in a house and has a great yard. Now, what if in this virtual world you can now show people, everything that is within your virtual world, and it doesn't necessarily have to be behind a screen. It can actually be outside in the physical world, where people can walk down your street, walk by your house, and say, "Oh, Angela lives here. Okay, those are the pictures of her pets. Oh, she's also a physical therapist." These are type of ideas that I give people that they can understand. It doesn't have to be so technical. Whether it's a chef, and they can have his menus outside of his restaurant interactively. at this point, we're looking at it through our phones, we're looking at it through our tablets, but soon, probably in the next year or so, we'll have spectacles where they're going to replace the handset, where you're going to be able to turn on and off, filters. Maybe you're just walking down the streets of Paris and you want to get some escargot, and you're only going to have the filter for food, and it's going to be translated as well through augmented reality. These are examples I give people who don't necessarily have to be so technical, but they're in the virtual world for these same reasons. The same reason people go into the internet. They probably don't know how a website is created, but they know they have to go and pay their bills. They know they want to book that flight, and they know they're in this virtual world. But this virtual world is more of a third or even fourth dimension.
You're already kind of answering my next question, and I was going to say that it's kind of great timing with this with those Facebook glasses that just came out. Even though there's no augmented reality that I hear of just yet. But my next question was going to be, what's happening in these virtual worlds, and why does it matter? You kind of touched on it already, but anything else you want to add to that?
Yeah, let me try to answer a straight question here. Yeah, it matters a lot. Let me give you a real world example of that. I'm in Miami, Florida at the moment on the shores of Biscayne Boulevard. And right around this time, every year for the past 20 years, the whispers are about this timeline, this countdown to Basel, to Art Basel that happens here, actually just across the bridge at Miami Beach. And it's about the artists who are involved, the artists who are not involved, but they're going to create their own guerrilla kind of offshoot Basel party or gallery. And what we've experienced because of the pandemic in the last year, Basel actually didn't happen last year for the first time since its initial, stunt in 2021, which was actually, coincidentally, was postponed in 2021 because of 9/11. And here we are, at the door of the 20th anniversary of 9/11. And it goes to show it's like, okay, so Art Basel may or may not happen. We still don't know. Everything indicates that yes, it is. Now, whether Art Basel happens or not, as artists, as creatives, as content creators, we have all the tools we need to create our own Art Basel. Within Miami, I know that myself and a group of others are already working on this, on creating our own augmented reality, our own virtual galleries. Whether it's Miami Beach, whether it's the Design District, whether it's Wynwood, we're creating our own augmented galleries where you can go no matter what's going on in the world. You can go at 3 a.m., you can go at noon. And these are the type of things that artists, I tell my colleagues, whether they're veterans or rookies, it's like create your own world. Just like you've uploaded 2,000 images to Instagram, start taking that out of Zuckerberg's wallet, put it into your wallet, put it into your interface, and place it wherever you like. You want to place it on the water, you want to place it in front of your house, you want to place it on Ocean Drive, do it. Give it interactivity.
Yeah, man.
Record it, make an NFT of the experience. Now take the NFT of that experience that you created and tokenize it on SuperWorld. Sell that.
You heard it here first. So please tell us, what are you going to be doing on your virtual land?
On my virtual land, I'm going to be doing a lot of different things. I'm already doing a lot of things. Actually, all the augmented reality that I've been uploading through the SuperWorld app has been on my land, for starters. Just experiencing, beta testing and seeing how it works, and I love it. Even though it's in beta right now, I can only imagine when it's, version 1 through 10. I'm going to love it. But the type of things I'm doing depending on the land. There could be augmented realities on there. There could be virtual lands on there. There could be educational NFTs. There's a land that I have that is actually the Freedom Tower here in Miami, which means a lot to a lot of people. Today is actually a museum, but about 60 years ago, it was the processing center for people, for political exiles leaving out of Cuba in 1966. And my mother at the time, just 19, 20 years old, left communist Cuba as a political exile, went through that process on Biscayne Boulevard, just a quarter mile from here, from where I live today. And she got processed through that building. They gave her $20 and they sent her to Boston, where she met my father a few years later. But in that process, something happened. It's where I look at that building, and that's the building, and everything that happened in that building is what got me to where I am today. Those $20 stretched a lot. And I went ahead, that was one of my first lands that I bought on SuperWorld. And that is more of a, kind of feeling thing. But what I look forward to doing on that land is kind of doing a small virtual documentary about, those travels and how that $20 investment, has gone this far 60 years later, where now I own the virtual land of that same building.
Man, that's an amazing story in itself right there. So I think we're going to need to talk about that a little bit more, especially when you start doing some stuff there. And you kind of already started answering the next question, which was, where have you bought in? Like, what land do you own and why? So maybe some other plots of land you want to shout out?
Yeah, I'm sitting on a bundle right now. I feel it's a good investment, and I'm glad I started early on, where Ethereum was at a certain point where it was manageable. So was the gas, but I was able to invest in quite a few, and for different reasons. Again, because of my graffiti background, everything is vantage point. So, when you're sitting in traffic and you look at a certain spot, you say, okay, I want my signature, I want my art there. So as an NFT artist, as a collector, I said, you know what, if I can put my CryptoPunks, my mental punks on this strip here, this would be a great vantage point for people who are waiting for the bright line to go by or for traffic. So that's the kind of mentality I have, just like, whether it's Gucci or Rolex, the way they do, they vantage point their products. And we need to think in this way. But along the ways, as SuperWorld started evolving and giving out a little bit more information, I started realizing that it's not just a show and tell. It's also about earning tokenomics. It's about earning residuals on this land, and that changed my perspective. It enhanced it, where I said, okay, I know what's going on in this building. I know that, Nickelodeon and Google are in this building, even though it doesn't say it on the outside. And there's a lot of stuff going on in there, and it's like, okay, let me grab this building, and it's like little things like that. It's for a certain reason. And what I would like people to know is that that's the kind of mentality you need to have, whether you have the Dali Museum in St. Petersburg, Florida, or, the Field of Dreams in Iowa, which I own both. There's a certain perspective. It's not just about grabbing. It's like, what would I do there? How would I make it better? How would I reserve it? How would I respect that land? It's little things like that. Now, moving forward, once you are a landowner, you have responsibilities, which comes with great power, right? So at this point, I don't know how everybody else ended their summer, but I started to, from a macro level, I went down to a micro level, and I started kind of creating a spreadsheet of my lands on SuperWorld, and I started going from, retail, museums, brewing companies, and putting them in a spreadsheet based on industry. And that allows you to kind of identify your assets. Do I have too many breweries? Do I have enough museums? And this will really work out when you have a presentation and you're ready to flip this land and say, well, why are you selling this plaza for 100 Ethereums? And I go, well, it's on sale right now. And the reason why is because it has, three Starbucks, it has one Best Buy, and it has a Target, and it's right across the street from, $1 million estates, and this is the type of mentality we can go into. And, yeah.
Awesome answer, man. We need to. I'm already like thinking about presentations of like for future landowners on how we could get them organized and thinking about this. So I think we already are sparking that in this conversation. So and this leads up to the next question is will there be other ways to make use of virtual land? How will others use and benefit from SuperWorld land?
Well, I'm gonna give an example of some of my colleagues and friends. They're artists, and just again, whether you're an artist, a collector, someone that happens to be in the market, or someone who feels passionate about something that's happening in the world today, which we need more of that. I feel that there are people right now, there are organizations and individuals who are looking at the destruction of the fires within Oregon, within California, and just in our own SuperWorld clubhouse that happens every Monday, 11 a.m. Eastern time. Somebody, I don't know if you remember this, but someone identified as they were going to document the land scars. I believe that's referred to where the burn scars were, where the homes are no longer there. Where there's only destruction. Someone's going to go back in there, and they're going to, not only are they buying that land virtually, but the reason they're doing it is because they're going to do a presentation, whether it's augmented or virtually, on the people who actually live there and their stories. If that's the beginning of something, we can do that to, Native Americans. You know what I mean? We can start doing that. I mean, it might sound, a little crazy, but we could do that to cemeteries. I grew up in New England. I grew up, where, you're in a park playing baseball 1 second. Next time you're in a cemetery where you're looking at headstones from, the 18th century, which as a kid, I thought that was amazing. Who was this person? I mean, I know it's a little dark, but the reality is if that's your grandfather, your great-grandfather, your grandmother, your mom, your brother, you can literally do augmented reality through SuperWorld on that area and show a story about this person, who this person was. These are the tools that we have right now. And I'm proud to be in a community where people are doing that kind of stuff. We have another Igley, I believe, one of our colleagues in SuperWorld, great person, Clairvoyance is the name of his art movement. And he's protected the Red Rock amphitheater, I believe. And he's where there's amazing concerts happen there. But it's a very natural and beautiful landscape, and he's taken upon himself to reserve that land to make sure that nothing funny happens on that land, and he has a lot of great plans to do that. And I respect him for that, and him and his team, for doing that kind of stuff. It's not just about, okay, how can I make a flip or doing this, but it's also, about protecting the land, just like I'm protecting, the lands that I get here in Miami.
Love that answer. And yeah, man, I'm a big fan of Igley myself. And I thought when I heard that he got the Red Rocks, music, the amphitheater, man, hearing what he wants to do there, seeing the art walk that he put through the mountains. Yeah. So if you haven't seen it, check it out. Igley, I'm not sure. I think it's just Igley or Clairvoyant Alliance is where you can find him on Twitter. So with that, is there anything that you're most excited about when you think of what we're building here at SuperWorld? What can't you wait for?
Wait, where's my list? Let's see. So much. I can't wait. And, your entire team knows this. I bug you guys with all my madness. And how can we do this and how can we do that? And all that's rolling out, and I'm super impressed the way everything's rolling out. I wanna be able to tie in augmented reality with virtual reality. I want to be able to do many things. SuperWorld is offering a lot of these kind of options. I like the way that SuperWorld is, creating bridges between their world and other worlds, like we just did in the last month, with Decentraland, BB Studios, That was amazing. Token Smart. I love when all these communities come together. And I'm noticing that that's what SuperWorld is doing. SuperWorld is not just on the virtual front or the blockchain front, the crypto front. They're not just trying to peddle a product. They're actually taking consideration of what's happening in the real world. When you finally unplug, disconnect, and go outside, and we realize, Miami just dodged another hurricane. But unfortunately, New Orleans, New York, and a lot of the country, embraced it. And, SuperWorld I love what SuperWorld is doing with, planting trees for every land that's being sold. I think that means a lot. The way they're helping, the Haitian community, in Haiti, not only with their earthquake, but also with their, financial structure because of their government and with the hurricane. It's just, they don't catch a break. I live here less than a quarter mile from Little Haiti, probably the second biggest community of Haiti, a Creole language. And it's a beautiful, beautiful, just community, and I would love to do something in the physical and in the augmented virtual, with this community here. So sometimes I say I don't like surprises, but I want to be surprised. I want to be, I'm always looking for that latest, just breaking news. SuperWorld is now offering this, which I'm ready for. I'm ready to use that.
Okay. I didn't know if you wanted to maybe, share some of the longer term vision, peek behind the curtain and, kind of give us a glimpse of what you see longer term.
I see longer term, I see SuperWorld becoming the future platform, social platform where people are going to have their own profiles. It's no longer going to be, we're going to start looking at Facebook and Instagram like what designers in the 90s were looking at flyers. We're like, yeah, that's cute, but can you click on it? Where's that address? Can it take me to a map? Well, it's going to be the same way where, we're going to have our specs or, our handsets, tablets, and look at these different worlds. It's like, oh, okay, check out. I'm going to New York. I'm going to upstate New York. I'm going to the West Side. I'm going to a hip hop concert, and there's Devin's World. Okay, let me check it out. Okay, he told me this is the best pizza in New York right here. Oh, he's telling me, okay, I should go get some kicks over here. All right, cool. And this is what we can, look forward to in SuperWorld, where it's like, you always you come to a new city, you don't really know what's going on. Well, go ahead and put on your SuperWorld filter, and now there's all these different experiences that you can do. Do you want to go jet skiing? Do you want to go to Little Havana, have some coffee, and play some dominoes? Like, what is it you want to do? Well, here's a virtual tour on it that you can take with your own handset, with your own specs, have that museum tour that you love. Now it's right here. It's right here. You can go. And I believe that SuperWorld is the one that's going to deliver that down the line. And I love it because that means that if they're able to provide those tools as artists, as collectors, we're going to be able to harness that power. And as artists, as collectors, as individuals, now that graffiti is going to be floating there. It's going to be floating, to the skyscrapers and doing different things, and people can click on it and buy the NFT version of that. That's the kind of stuff I'm looking forward to.
Love it, man. And I just bring it up because we just had our first dream session with Will Burns, who's an interdepartmental project manager here, actually defined the metaverse for the IEEE. And so we just had that dream session in Discord. I think we're going to do it every Wednesday. At least start doing it a little bit more. And so I love getting that future vision. The whole goal of that exercise is to kind of, see what everyone wants longer term, and then leave these breadcrumbs to get there.
Right. And what you just said is very inspirational to have people like that you thought you would never be in the same room, in the same conference room. People like Will Burns and that type of, just imagination and his track record and what he's been able to do, and to see that he's just, so humble, even with all that intelligence and everything that he's accomplished, so humble to be able to speak to everyone and understand that everyone has an origin point. Everyone has that blank canvas. And, and I love the way that SuperWorld supports that. And to say that, it's like everybody has a different perspective, because, I could see where real estate companies, are going to use SuperWorld to kind of say, okay, let's go ahead and put on your specs. And this barren land that you see here, well, which house did you choose? Okay, the townhouse. Okay, here's the townhouse filter, and this is the townhouse filter. And these artists, you're doing NFTs now, but you're gonna probably be doing the couches and the pool and everything that's in this house, but just on a flick of a button. So again, it has to do with a lot of different, depending on the industry. You could be an artist, you could be a real estate broker, you could be an architect. I could see architects being all over this.
100%. And, I have to mention, we're actually doing this event next week in Venice with UNESCO. And it's all about Lebanon and Beirut and the tragedies that are occurring there right now. And, the city has definitely been destroyed in a lot of areas. And they're already talking about showcasing the future city designs in augmented reality. And so can't wait to see that coming really soon. Seeing the city being built, how it's going to be displayed, even before they even start working on it. And I think they're even going to ask the community, and get some feedback like, hey, should we put this tower over here? Should we put it over there? And everyone can actually see this, in augmented reality before they start working on it. I think it's going to be crazy. So keep an eye out for that.
That's a beautiful project, a beautiful idea. And as you were saying that, just this morning I was looking at the preparation for the 20th anniversary of 9/11, and to see that kind of like that foundation where they created the memorial as the water goes in. Would it be disrespectful? Would it be respectful to create the kind of the augmented versions of those towers? Where I knew a few years back, I'm not sure if they still do it, when they did those beams of light that went up. I thought that looked amazing, but to think that they can actually have the specs to recreate the Twin Towers in that land for people, for educational reasons, for people who weren't even born, and for people who actually worked there and who have survived. I think that would be amazing.
Yeah, and I'm just imagining visiting it in the virtual space and walking through the floors, just imagining what could be done there. So I'm hoping we're speaking this into fruition, and it gets to the right ears. So jumping into the next question, was there an aha moment that really clicked for you, that maybe got you a little bit more interested or excited about SuperWorld or our real estate?
Yes, along the way, and every time I use it, honestly, whether it's the augmented reality portion of it, the constant creating, the people who are on the team, the things that SuperWorld, kind of puts together to make the real world a better place, the physical world a better place. A lot of those things is what keeps me moving. A lot of times we buy into a brand or a product. We're like, okay, this is cool, but this is a lot like this, the Pepsi Coke kind of situation. Right now, I see SuperWorld just kind of building, on multiple levels at the same time and moving forward, whether it's in the physical or in the virtual, in the augmented as well. And that's what kind of keeps my attention going. It's very easily to kind of draw your attention. Oh, well, this company is doing something like this, and this company is doing something like this. And there's a lot of questions, moving forward from people who are not in the world. But I love the technology that's coming out of it. The fact that, whether you own real lands in the physical and you have an opportunity to buy this digital asset, that alone should just blow your mind. The fact that this land that you're buying is boundaries within, Earth. Think about tokenizing Google Earth. Okay, you've got this boundary line. And now this boundary line is an NFT. So now it has provenance. Now it's on a blockchain that says that, XYZ bought this land, this boundary as a non-fungible token, and it's on the blockchain for the world to see. So, for instance, if somebody wanted to see how much land I have, they just go to the blockchain, they can see the ledger, and it's open. And in that, you can see where it's going with that. Where a lot of people are in projects that it's almost like it doesn't exist because nobody else knows about it. This is a very transparent project that the whole world can come in, learn about it, move forward and say, well, this person bought this land for this reason. I think I'm going to buy this land here. This is where my parents met. And I'm going to put the story of them, or what have you. Maybe I want to put my dad's favorite baseball cards at the Dream of Fields. You know what I mean? Field of Dreams, actually. And, stuff like that.
Yeah, I'm going to throw you a curveball question. It's not on the list. There's been a lot of talks about water and how, it makes up most of the earth. And, why would someone buy a plot just in the water that no one can go there physically? Why are people buying up the Mariana Trench? What are they going to do there?
I heard that last week when, actually just a couple of days ago, when the Honorable Will Burns spoke about it. He kind of dropped that little seed in our head. I've been thinking about it ever since. And I said, I was like, I'm literally surrounded by water right now. I have Biscayne Bay to the right of me. I have South Beach down south, have a couple of canals around me. I'm like, why would someone get that land? I'm like, well, it's water. There's land at the bottom of it. There's land on the base of it. There's water there. Well, water, because of water is why Miami is what Miami is. That's what attracts all the beautiful creatures from all over the world to visit this place. Now, it's interesting if we can actually do something in the water. What about, if we go and revisit, I know it's kind of crazy if we revisit, the Titanic, recreate the Titanic underwater and see exactly how it was or where the fault was, where that happened. It could be a great way for scavenger hunts for scuba, going down there, maybe submarines or what have you, that type of, we recreating, lost lands. I don't know. I know that there's a lot of different things that we can do. If we're doing it on land, who knows? Somebody might have a really cool camera. You can go underwater and do some augmented reality, down in South Beach. It's so many different reasons why we could do stuff there. People love the ocean. We got to keep the ocean clean. That's one thing for sure. And maybe, I was thinking, maybe getting a piece of the bay or ocean and actually, will be, if that sells, will the tokenomics from that go to a charity that can actually help clean up the water, keep the oceans clean? Is that a perspective, a reason why we would go and buy water? I'm not sure. I'm sure someone's going to do something really cool on it, and we're going to be like, that's it.
Yeah, I was just trying to get the listeners that'll watch this, to kind of understand that you can have any place in the world, and even though I can't get there physically, we can all go there virtually and experience whatever it is that you placed here, on your plot of land, even though it's all water in this case. So yeah, I'm excited to see, music venues and who knows, dance rooms, concerts, events, festivals, all happening virtually on SuperWorld water, on the ocean.
So once the portals are activated, and they will be activated, it'll be interesting because many people who I've spoken to online, it's like they've never been near the ocean. And it's kind of crazy. There's people who have never really, touched snow. I've grown up with both of those elements, and it's interesting. Even though I spent years without actually going in the water, believe it or not, once I'm in there, I'm like, this is great. But how about somebody who's never experienced the South Beach experience, who've never experienced a Fort Lauderdale experience or Key West, where it says 90 miles to Cuba? It's like, how about, hey, let's take a field trip. Tomorrow's field trip. Let's go, everyone in, let's go. We're going to Key West. We're going over, we're going to go, and check it out. We're going to go to St. Augustine and see one of the oldest first towns in the United States. Go into that virtual world, go into that portal. Someone created, a virtual project there through SuperWorld.
Love it, man. Yeah, it's going to be really exciting. Every single day, every week, it's just ramping up. So my next question is there anything that you want to ask our team or something that you would want to know more about?
Yeah, there's many things. But I'm just looking forward to more of the accessibility, the tools to be let out for artists. I can't wait for specific augmented reality companies to work together. Whether it's on a behavior kind of element where we're making things happen and trigger other things. I'm looking forward to some of these augmented companies to work together. Is what I want the worlds to merge. We need to be the example in the digital for the physical. We want these worlds to merge, and I'm looking forward to that.
Okay, awesome. Yep. I was going to say that this was your chance to let everyone at the SuperWorld team know what you're thinking and what we need to do to make sure that you were heard.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I'll email them a list, which I have. There's so many things. It's just I go from my artist perspective and deep into Photoshop or a 3D program and stuff like that, and then I get into the kind of real estate marketing kind of train of thought, and then recently created between Aura and Carlos Mayer and myself, kind of created a crew, kind of augmented graffiti gang, where we're going ahead and just laying out our augmented graffiti wherever we wish, in parties that we weren't necessarily even invited to. But you know what? Our augmented graffiti is there in true graffiti form. So it's interesting because, we come and we stumble upon, certain limitations as new technology happens. And this is what you want. This is what you want from your peers. And this is what you want from, the people who are using your tools. To know, well, I was able to do this, but for some reason, when I went from Wi-Fi to broadband, there was a cutoff, certain things like that. So there'll be a full report on Monday.
Definitely tune into the clubhouse Monday morning, 11 a.m. Eastern, and shout out to Aura Glitch.
Aura Glitch is, yes, this guy is relentless. He's doing amazing stuff on the West Coast, and yeah, I'm glad he's on our team.
So, what should we at SuperWorld be considering, doing more of for landowners and just super citizens in general?
Definitely, landowners need a voice, and I appreciate this podium at this moment. I think landowners definitely need a voice within the website. Need to have a section there. Know exactly, and maybe, a little bit of information about the person. Again, SuperWorld is encompassing everyone, right? So whether you're an artist, whether you're a legacy artist, whether you're a blockchain artist, whether you're a graffiti artist, whether you're just a collector and you happen to have, the economy to move forward and kind of start collecting a lot of these artists' projects, there needs to be a place for landowners, for virtual landowners. I believe with projects such as what you're doing now, this is going to open the doors for real estate brokers, for architects, for agriculture, for many different reasons as to why somebody would want to buy land. So let's hear their story out. Let's see why they bought, when they bought, and what's been the experience since, as to why are they investing in this virtual land, and what do they feel they're going to do with it? And now, I see in the future kind of where the landowners are going to have a great communication with each other. It's like, hey, I see that you have Ferrari in Miami. I'll trade you for a champion Porsche. I'm like, well, I am more of a Porsche kind of guy. I'm like, hey, let me see. There could be a swap, side chain swap. These are things that can happen. And I'm looking forward to these type of things where, landowners are going to be able to kind of see, kind of peek in their portfolio and see exactly where, what's oh, okay, oh, they got that land. Oh, that's interesting. I wanted that land, and look at that, someone got it. Which is very, very true right now. There is a land grab going on SuperWorld.
I appreciate that feedback, and hopefully we'll get that implemented soon. I was going to say, it sounded like your the miner was kicking in the background.
Is it? Maybe so. Actually, you know what? I'll be real with you. My heart's beating right now because I actually shut off my Ethereum miner just for this interview. So yeah. So that doesn't happen often. Okay, but it's just because of the noise and stuff like that.
So yeah, we're gonna need to hurry the rest of the interview up then. And we haven't even gotten into monetization. Like, you know, how are landowners gonna make money on their land? And so with that said, with you knowing that the first, you know, monetization opportunity for landowners is going to be NFT sales. What NFTs are you planning on selling on your land, and you know, what experiences are you going to be, you know, creating there?
I'm looking forward to kind of showcasing the art that I have been collecting from different artists around the world, different NFT artists, you know, with great causes, amazing imagination, from local artists here in Miami, local musicians, whether it be, you know, kind of bossa nova, or it's, you know, just real eclectic Miami electro, just different things. I have some NFTs that I've bought on different, you know, organizations that I'm looking forward to actually seeing these, you know, kind of displayed, showcased within SuperWorld. And I have the ability to do it, you know, and I know SuperWorld is going to back me up on this if there's any glitches. But that's exactly what I'm looking forward to doing SuperWorld. You know, within my own kind of inventory, I've created an array of CryptoPunks, you know, certified unofficial punks subsets. And they are the mental punks, you know, and these mental punks represent the periodic table of elements, you know, 1 through 118. Floor price 0.25 Ethereum at this moment, but raising in price. And I'm looking forward to kind of placing these guys, you know, at the Science Museum. I'm looking forward to placing them in certain schools, you know, where just about a year ago, I was thinking, you know, where am I going to place these? Am I going to have to put a screen? Am I going to have to, you know, kind of invest in these like tablets, or, you know, this could get a very expensive, you know, project. Now I'm looking at augmented reality, you know, and I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to go ahead and put 40 on this side, you know, give them behaviors, click on them, go straight to, you know, the NFT checkout, that kind of stuff. And I think that's going to be an example, and we're going to see that. And a lot of that's going to happen in Art Basel this year. There's a lot of people working on different aspects. You know, whether it's Art Basel here in Miami, or it's the art, you know, venture that you're doing in your town. You know, you have the capability. Here's SuperWorld. Here's a platform right now, gas-free tokenization. You know, all you see is on crypto Twitter. People are really hurt right now with the fees of this gas, and it's interesting because it's like, you know, you have no excuse at this point. You know, you just create the asset. You know, move it forward. Represent yourself through art, whether it's music, art, photography, video, 3D, whatever it is that comes out of your mind. You know, put it out to the world so they can see.
I just wanted to, you know, ask, are you considering like kind of incentivizing other, you know, NFT projects or people that sell NFTs? Are you going to try to find a way to incentivize them to sell their NFTs on your land?
I believe so, and I believe that is a concept that is in the back of a lot of people's minds. Because if you have specific art on this land and people are coming to see this art, you know, augmented reality, for instance, and that art sells, you know, people are going to be like, well, you know what? There's traffic here. Do you mind if I put my art here? Go ahead, put your art here. The reality is that they don't know whether that's my land. They just see this, you know, weird uncle, with his tablet, looking at something here, and somebody walks by. Oh, what are you looking at? Oh, wow, how are you doing that? Oh, I'm doing that on SuperWorld. Blah blah blah. This happens on a daily, or if not every weekend, around town, and that's how I onboard people. And that's how people. Oh, can I put my art here at this park? Go for it. You can do it. Now, what's interesting is I'm not sure if a lot of people know is that if you own the plot of land and people are putting their art there and that art sells on your land, you will receive residuals based on that sale. And that's the idea that we want. That is the incentive for landowners. That is only one of many incentives for landowners and for artists as well. So a lot of times that, you put in your best idea in a gallery. You got to pay for the nail, for the hook, for the canvas, and you maybe take 40% of your earnings when that thing sells. Here you are, now you're the curator, you're the gallery. It's your turn to show the rest of the world, that your art exists on many worlds.
I love that. I can't wait till we start sharing this more with users as we turn on that switch. It isn't turned on as of this call right here in mid-September. I really wanted to ask you, would you consider, let's say like a famous celebrity, like Gary Vaynerchuk, perfect person, right? So Gary Vaynerchuk, Tory Lanez, Ashton Kutcher with those stoner cats, if they were selling, if they owned some land, they were driving traffic to their plots of land for other NFT sellers, would you consider selling NFTs on their land, even though you are already a landowner?
Well, the reality is that that's when you start looking at percentages, correct? It's almost like that, trying to convince an old school restaurant owner why it's a good idea to have, a food service delivery, have their menu on their food service delivery. It's like, why would I give 25 cents of my every dollar to this company, Uber Eats or, what have you? And they're like, well, who else do you know that has 100,000 people on the daily trying to order lunch? They've already done the work for you, And it's like, once they see that money coming in, they're like, okay, that's what I would pay my manager, or that's what I would pay for flyers, or that's what I would pay for it. And that's happened. So if I had an in where I can put my NFTs or those that I've curated on TokenMental of the artists I curate and I onboard, and I know that there is X amount of people on a certain land going there, whether it's virtually or physically, and stuff is selling, it's like, yeah, I'd put my art there because it's going to sell. So that's their commission, the landowner. I get my commission and I distribute it to my artists. And it's a win-win, where it's like, okay, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to keep it in my wallet. Okay, that's fine. But, the idea is to keep this stuff moving and synthesize the artist. They got a sale. They love it. Gives them energy. Now they're creating more art. And now somebody else has your art that they're visiting Miami, and now they're in Brazil. Now they're in South Africa, with your art, showcasing it to their friends and family. So yeah, I think that's a great idea.
So yeah, just for everyone listening in, you can geopin your NFTs anywhere in the world. So if, Ashton Kutcher or Gary Vaynerchuk got a plot of SuperWorld land at, wherever it may be, could be in the middle of the ocean, but they were driving people there to buy their NFTs or other projects' NFTs, you could just geopin your NFT there. And so it'll be accessible on his plot already. You don't need his permission. And just so everyone else knows, Gary V isn't going to charge you an additional fee to sell on his land. The marketplace fee covers everything. So I'm not sure we even announced it just yet. I believe it's going to be 5%. Don't quote me on it, but I believe that's what it's going to be. And so we're going to be splitting that with the landowners. So whatever that portion may be would go to landowners.
Let me give an example, a small example, so someone could understand how this would work. In relation to why your art would sell in somebody else's land. Mark Cuban in the last year has been very excited about blockchain and very excited about non-fungible tokens and rightly so. And it feels good that somebody from his kind of stature would come and say, okay, this is real. Let me put it on this level. And because of that, I'm sure there's people on Wall Street and Fortune 500 that have followed suit. Now, what happened was very interesting in his case, because he announced to the world that he's looking for NFTs, and he invested in some NFTs. He created a wallet on a certain organization's website, and all of a sudden people were dropping their NFTs to his wallet. And all of a sudden he has thousands of NFTs. Rich get richer, right? So the interesting part is that, yes, but it's also almost like a kind of Trojan horse kind of thing, right? Because now my NFT is sitting in his wallet. Now you got millions of people around the world looking through his wallet and going, oh, this is cool. What is this? And click on it. It's like, oh, okay, TechMental, TokenMental. Where can I find that? Okay, goes back to my, different, assortment of NFTs and all these different type of organizations. And now you got a new customer. Not for giving one up, now somebody else is gonna, buy yours or be interested in yours. Which is interesting what people can do as well, where they can go ahead and maybe they want to offer one of their NFTs in a certain world, in a certain land, just because they want to support what's going on there.
Trying to wrap it up quickly because I know we got to get the miner back on. But I was just going to ask, have you heard any cool stories from other landowners of kind of what they want to do? Like, is there anything cool sticking out that we should know about?
I think I might have said it earlier with the kind of stuff with I believe Igly, what he's doing with his girlfriend and stuff like that. I think that's really amazing, and the Landscars as well. I think that covers that. I honestly know a lot of landowners online, not as much in the physical, but then again, who knows who in the physical, right? But I think there are people creating a lot of interesting things. I think they're keeping it to themselves at this point. There is a lot of talk of what people are doing. People are just stacking right now. People are stacking virtual assets right now, whether it's music, whether it's land, whether it's art, but it all can come together on there.
I just want to share, one of the things I think is pretty cool. I was talking to an LSU fan, and he actually owns Alabama, the college football stadium. And so he hates Alabama, and he's going to let everyone at Alabama know when they log into SuperWorld, there's going to be a bunch of LSU stuff and anti-Alabama stuff. So he's actually using it. He's using it to bash his enemy rival team. And I thought that was pretty interesting.
Yeah, I could see that. That's some good fun. Unfortunately, the Yankee Stadium is taken. But yeah, I could see that happening. And yeah, as long as it's all in good fun, I think we can do that. But it's interesting because right now we're talking about it, and it just feels like, I swear, it feels like 2013, 2014, where people are like, hey, are you hearing about crypto? This and that. Oh, I don't know. Is that what is that? Is that a Russian thing? Is it an Asian thing? What is it? And it feels like that. And if anything, if anyone has any doubt, it's like, well, if you had a time machine and you were able to go back and get Bitcoin at $300, would you? Well, maybe it's a good idea to jump on SuperWorld right now and get yourself a plot, because you just don't know what may happen in 10 years and what they'll be worth.
100% agree with that. With that, I got one last question. Do you have any worries or concerns or any suggestions that we should be aware of?
When it comes to SuperWorld, I believe that, listen, the blockchain has, in my opinion, disrupted permissionless, Wall Street, right? They have disrupted the art industry. With just this conversation, the trembles are going through and disrupting the real estate industry. I'm reading the DAOs, decentralized autonomous organizations, taking place on, titles. So I just feel like it's coming. It's coming for the real estate companies. It's coming for the way things have been doing, those old guards. And there's always going to be a pushback. There's always going to be a push. There was a pushback within Wall Street. There was a pushback in art, in the art communities. And now look at Sotheby's, ready for that next. What is that next NFT that we can make a big commission on? So what people need to understand that there will always be pushback with new technologies. That email thing doesn't sound safe. Yeah, but let's wait for that fax machine, And I just feel like, some people just are not ready for change. And the reality is that we're in the year 2021. We're well into the fourth industrial revolution. We are surfing on Web 3. It's the time has come to move on. The time has come to become more, just absolute, talking about fraud. Well, at this point, 10 years later, what was the last time a Bitcoin was duplicated? In a world that everything is digital, in a world where you can duplicate anything, at least to this point, it has not been done. So, there's a lot of fraud when it comes to whether it's the economy or, different assets, within the blockchain. I just feel, especially in real estate, I feel like we can kind of make it more absolute. And once the governments and local governments and, the powers that be see that this is in the right direction and see that we can actually, absolute this and make sure that it's correct and make sure that there's no bias. Because the reality is that this is what we're striving for. Because maybe I don't fit the profile to be living in your neighborhood, but I have the economy, I have, the credit, the assets as to why I want to live in your neighborhood. But maybe I don't fit that profile. Maybe the banker looks at me and is like, I know so-and-so owns 3 actual houses in that neighborhood, and I don't think he would want, Mr. TechMental there, So, you know what? Maybe a smart contract that says, reads how much assets I have, how much collateral I have, and sees that this smart contract says, this property is up for sale, and it wants to have that type of merger. It's Match.com for real estate, and that's coming, and we're ready because we do have the assets.
Love it, man. Decentralization. That's what it's about. With that said, man, I appreciate your time. Love these conversations, and I'll be seeing you in the clubhouse, the Discords, and talk to you soon.
Is there a Twitter space going on right now?
No, we're not doing one today. We're going to do our first one, I think, Monday. So we'll announce it on Twitter when we go live a little bit before.
Absolutely. I love everyone in the community. There's always new people coming in. A lot of great information. You got me at the end of the week, so I'm kind of like spaced out. But Monday I'll have fresh questions and stuff like that. So for everybody, I appreciate your time, and definitely check out SuperWorld.
Love it, man. All right, I'll see you on the clubhouse Monday.
Peace.